Happy Thursday. Better yet, happy weekend. I don't know when you guys are listening to this, but hopefully you're giving it a listen. If you are, dude, I would not miss out on this episode. We got a great episode, as you can see, lined out. God, it feels good to be back. I have taken a little bit of a hiatus, Dondre. I took like a 5-6 months hiatus, and so getting back into the swing of things are kind of settling down on my side. It's great to be
Right.
back, and I mean, I'd be remiss. Look, you know what? Eff it. I had a whole intro lined out, and I had a whole thing I was gonna go down, but I feel too comfortable and I feel too antsy. I just want to get right into it, man.
Let's get
Ladies,
to it.
find him and follow him on his socials. We'll even get past paying the bills. Dondrea Tillman 2 on Twitter X, and then at Dondrea Tillman 98 on Instagram. He just signed last year with the Denver Broncos, former USFL. Man, I'll even call you this. I don't even. I think legend would be the perfect term, and I know that's too cliche, but you definitely paved the way in spring ball. Nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, Dondre Tillman, happy Thursday, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How you doing, Keegan?
I'm chilling, dude. I am chilling. It's God, I just get chills, man. It's so great to be back. It's so great to be talking with you. Um,
Yes.
I'm just excited for you. I'm happy for how far you've come, and real quick before I get into anything, I want to kind of give you some flowers, man. I talk about I have a lot of talents, and I'm blessed to be able to be in the position I'm in, and have the relationship that I have with a lot of the players. To for them to entrust me to kind of tell the story for them or give them the platform to do so, I love it.
Mhm.
But I have a little bit more of a respect for you. You're kind of you are one of the people that really kind of embraced me when I was down at Birmingham, and not to say not everybody else did, but some of the first interaction, I go back to my conversation with Jonathan Newsom I had a year ago, and I was like,
Um,
you guys are freaking awesome. I love the defensive group. I love the defensive room when we were down there in Birmingham. So I just wanted to say from, almost like a brotherhood down there, you guys embraced me with open arms, and I was
of
just
course,
to
man.
be around you guys. I freaking love y'all. But enough of me, enough of all the patronizing. Everything good out in Denver. Life is good. Life is great.
Yeah, life is good. Denver is amazing, man. Just the people are so calm. They're welcoming.
Yeah, man.
Um, you know, it's a big fan base. Before I got here, I kind of heard it was big, but once I got here, I realized it's way bigger than what I thought. It's a great time. I just love it a lot.
Yeah. I will ask. So we had this conversation off camera talking about kind of my roots with Colorado. Obviously, you're playing for the team that I've freaking grown up cheering for since my childhood. So it's kind
Yeah.
of crazy. But when you talk about the acclimation process of getting to Denver, altitude is the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, I feel like I run a 5K every time I walk in the city of Colorado Springs where my family lives. But what's the adjustment like from a playing standpoint and being able to get out there and acclimate to that?
It definitely takes, some time to get used to. I remember just when they worked me out after I played with the Stallions, man, I worked out with them 2 days after the championship, and man, the first thing I felt was just it's hard to breathe. It's not necessarily like your muscles are tired. It's just like you really just can't grab any oxygen.
Mhm.
Um, so it definitely takes a while. I would say, to be honest, like depending on how much you play and how hard you're going, you might not ever get used to it, right? Like you're always gonna feel it, but the advantage is though when you go to other places, whenever we have away games,
Yeah.
we can play so much better and play so much faster and play so much longer because our conditioning is better. So
Yeah, man.
that's the advantage, but it takes time for sure.
I could not fathom. I mean, I would walk my dog outside of my dad's apartment and I need some freaking albuterol. I'm like, geez Louise, man, I can't breathe out here. But the adjustment, I mean, you guys, obviously you have elite trainers around you who've been within the system, been there.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they have a lot of methods of going about it and acclimating and everything.
Oh, thing is though, they definitely do. Just being in the NFL, man, like They have oxygen tanks, obviously, right? Those help. I know I use that frequently whenever I need to. We also just make sure that we stay hydrated, making sure that, we have a good water intake, make sure our hydration is good. Because the better you're hydrated, obviously, the better you're going to be able to run and breathe, and the better your muscles going to work. But it's pretty much just staying conditioned too, I guess. They do a good job just making sure that we're always ready,
Yep.
working us out, making sure we're always running.
Mhm.
I remember in training camp we did conditioning every day for the whole training camp.
Yeah.
So, that definitely pays off.
Man, just kudos to you for making the adjustment. It could not be me. So, kudos and good on you. I
Appreciate you, man.
before before we go down, what's up next, what's been going on, what's in the current. I want to kind of paint the picture for anybody that has not really heard your story, and it's better from no pun intended the horse's mouth.
Mhm.
Whenever we're going down memory lane, but. Going back to your collegiate career, we talk about the University of Pennsylvania or Indiana University of Pennsylvania, excuse me.
Mhm.
You attended there, and I always get corrected. So if you feel the need to correct me, do so, please. I don't want to sound like an idiot. But from 2016 to 2018 is what the school site said. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're good there. We're on the right start. So with the IUP Crimson Hawks, you had worked into an integral piece of the team's defense, totaling 8.5 sacks, 13 tackles for loss, and 31 total tackles across your sophomore year. Furthermore, following that performance in your junior year, you would tie for sixth in total sacks across the Division II landscape, tabbing 12.5 sacks, ultimately leading you would lead the Pennsylvania State Athletics Conference with 12.5 sacks. And then on top of that, totaled 62 total sacks. It was 30 solo, 32 assisted. Again, when I say stats, I sound sometimes like a dumbass, so forgive me. But I mean, I think I'm in the right ballpark.
It said 62 sacks. Nah, I
Uh,
didn't.
No, not 62 sacks. That's a typo. Tackles is what I meant.
Tackles. Oh, 62 tackles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I think I had. Yeah, I finished with like 32 sacks in college, and I finished with fourth all time.
Mhm.
College definitely, that was a good time. I mean, I had a great time at college. I'll let you keep going now.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. I'll piggyback off that. Great segue there, bud. We're getting you into the podcast flow. So you work, or so going to IUP. Um, well, damn it, I had a freaking segue and now I lost it. What was I gonna say off that? Oh yes, that was it. With it being a Division II program, and obviously we'll get into the UFL conversation, but. I wanted to kind of get your perspective first off at smaller schools getting an opportunity in the spring leagues. I know I'm kind of bouncing around, but I'll tie it all in. In terms of going to a small school, um, when you look at the grand scheme of things, how integral or how vital is a spring league being able to bring in, people such as yourself to develop at the pro level? Because you have a bunch of different guys from all different walks, man, and a lot of
Hmm.
them come from smaller schools, the ones that often get overlooked. In your
Yeah.
eyes, what does that do for you guys? And I mean, going forward, is spring football going to be able to sustain with that sort of platform, that's being sort of the premise for them to accrue talent?
I hope so. Lord knows I hope so. Because just for guys like myself, like you said, smaller guys coming out of school,
Mhm.
it means a lot. Because a lot of times, we go unnoticed. A lot of times you might not have opportunities to showcase yourself, but in your bottom of your heart that you're good enough, right?
Right.
A lot of times, I know, at least for myself, the only thing that kept me going was hope,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Hoping that, eventually one day that I'll get my chance because I know all I needed was that chance and I would, run with it. And once, the Stallions and I heard about that league, man, I was so happy. I was excited, man, because nobody wants to obviously, cut their career short, right? But if you know that you're good enough, I would say obviously chase it until, you really feel like there's nothing else left, right? So that's why I think that league is so huge because, like you said, it's a chance to put great film out there, get better, be around guys who've been in the league, so you can create your system, your routine, right? You can figure out how you want to do things and how you should do things.
Mhm.
And because it's a different level at that point. It's not college, right? It's a whole different game.
Mhm.
It's more time, it's more detail oriented.
Right.
It's more systems, more schemes. So it's a lot more film work. So you have to figure out how you're going to manage everything. And I feel like for that too,
Mhm.
just for that part about football, that league is huge because going into the NFL, obviously, like it's a step up, but um I really did enjoy that league, because myself, I had moves that I, wanted to work on. Obviously, I've been practicing by myself on air. I'm the type that obviously, if people don't know, I really haven't had a trainer. I really trained by myself pretty much my whole life,
Mhm.
just from looking at videos and doing cone drills. So
Mhm.
like being able to do that and then go out there and practice it, actually with live people and actually be able to get film from it was huge for me, man, because I just wanted to show what I could do, right? Wanted to show what I've been working on. And the thing is, like, it's for guys to build confidence as well.
Mhm.
That's the thing. You know, yeah, you're not in the NFL, but yeah, you're not in college. So whatever, new moves or whatever new skills that you've been working on, this is the perfect chance to
Right.
show it. You know,
Absolutely.
because obviously, sometimes, right, you walk out in a crowd full of 70,000 people, you might be hesitant to throw a move that you haven't really been throwing like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I really do love that league for that.
You talk about I guess that's what would be the word, proverbial chip on the shoulder. People, and again, and I'll preface this, you see a diverse group, and I saw it firsthand, and I was fortunate enough to work with you guys in 2023, but you see a diverse group of different people who have made it to the pinnacle, people who are
Hmm.
trying to make it back to the pinnacle, and pinnacle being NFL, and people who have, been overlooked. They've been, they've just been overlooked and not been given the light of day to try out for these franchises.
Yeah.
Think that all stems back to to have that sort of discipline, that chip on the shoulder kind of stems back a long way. The stories are diverse, the stories are great from each walk of life. And
Hmm.
so starting for you, it dates back to your time in Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. That's where you
Yeah.
grew up. When did football sort of become the story, and when did we start to say, you know what, we have a future in this, this could be a career? What was kind of the focus in high school? When did you, fall in love with the game, and when did you pursue it heavy, man?
So to be honest, I remember I fell in love with football really young, like second grade. I remember just telling my teacher that I wanted to be an NFL player when I grew up.
Yeah,
And she wrote in the back of my yearbook, just make sure that you work hard in life and do good in school so that way you can go to the NFL like you wanted to.
yeah,
And but it was really high school, I would say, kind of when I started to notice that I could really do something with football,
yeah.
right? It was like my senior year, teams started coming in. I started getting accolades. Like my senior year, I got Defensive Player of the Year in the conference.
Hmm.
I got DC, Maryland, Virginia honorable mention
Yeah,
for one of the best defensive ends in the tri-state area.
yeah.
Um, you know, and then but really it was just that time. And my dad. My bad, my agent's calling me. Sorry, but
No, you're good.
But it was really my dad who got me involved with football. He had me doing drills. He had me watching football on Sunday with him, and he was the one that really set in stone, like kind of gave me the push and the drive to go chase it.
Mm,
You know, and unfortunately, he ended up dying in high school,
mm.
and that ended up giving me, some more drive and some more passion, some more fuel to go, use it towards football and to chase his dream.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. When you look at leaving high school, did you kind of know the path? Did you know like where you were going? How much was it in terms of you know, interest? I guess from that perspective, what was the interest like? And Yeah. What were the opportunities right there on the outside of, or on in the next chapter, collegiate at the collegiate level? Excuse me.
At the collegiate level. To be honest, I had Division 2 schools. I had Division 1 schools looking at me as well, but to be honest, it was my grades. After my dad died, I kind of
Hmm.
just it was life. Life was hitting me.
Yeah.
And I kind of just didn't really. I honestly wanted to give up on life, but I didn't. Right, God came and saved me. Right, and pretty much uh allowed me to see the brighter things. To be honest, out of college, so I only had Division 2 schools, like I said, because of my grades. So I had like IUP, Slippery Rock, pretty much just all like PSAC schools, all
Hmm.
schools on the like Pennsylvania conference.
Hmm.
And I didn't know where I was going, to be honest, man. All I did was just put it in God's hands, right? Like I said, I had faith, I had hope, and all I knew I had to do was just work on it. Just put the work in. I This is a saying I say to myself. Like my trainer, we say, "Chop wood, carry water." You chop wood, carry water.
That's a good
Eventually,
one.
that tree gonna fall, and eventually, you're gonna have enough water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, um, that's what I did, man.
When you got to campus at IUP, man, what was the competition like? Obviously, I mean, you said it yourself, Division 2 was kind of the traffic that you were getting. I mean, me personally, it sort of enlightened me in sort of the competition in the PSAC and what that looks like. And from a development standpoint, what did they do to kind of develop your skill set and make you or prepare you for the next level?
The competition in that conference was amazing, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was definitely some good guys in that conference. I forget we had definitely a couple of guys in that conference that went to the NFL. I forget their names, but Slippery Rock definitely had a good team. Their O line was good. Who else? Cal U definitely had a good team, but it was really just those guys really just wanted it, and you could tell they had technique. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like, but even though we were Division 2, you could still tell that guys were working on the fundamentals all across the conference and all across the league. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, Especially at IUP, my coach Anthony Leonard, he went to West Virginia.
Hmm.
He was a linebacker at West Virginia. Ended up playing for Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
And yeah, so he was my position coach, and I had him all 4 years. And he told me, because I actually talked to him when I first went there about transferring, and I'll never forget. He told me, he said, "If you stay here, you'll learn more, and I'll help develop you so you can actually go to the NFL." And I trusted him, and we still talk to this day.
Yeah.
Um, so he really, took me under his wing and allowed me to, be comfortable, ask questions, do what I need to do, and while still learning from him.
Right.
So it was definitely an amazing time with him for sure.
So real quick, you talk about people kind of influences around you that have had that experience in the NFL. I'm
Yeah.
curious to know because I see it in a lot of your game. I see some glimpses of certain players, but I want to know firsthand who are some people that young Till was molding his game after and trying to emulate. Yeah. What?
That's a good question, man. Because I used to watch a lot. I mean, I still watch a lot of tape. But
Mm,
some guys I was watching definitely growing up, man, just
same.
even while in the UFL and in college, just like obviously like Max Crosby's, Von Miller's,
Yep.
Miles Garrett, you got Frank Clark,
Mhm.
you know, uh, Daniil Hunter,
Mhm.
Aiden Hutchinson now,
Yeah.
recently he's been going crazy. It's just a lot of guys, man. But as you don't, I mean, if you watch my tape, I'm more of a finesse player, right? So I like guys with skill work, guys who can set up their moves, guys who like to make guys miss, kind of dance with them.
Yeah.
So pretty much most of those type of guys, but yeah.
Got you. Got you. Yeah, no, the swim move is the one thing I was thinking of and low center of gravity. Certain things that I see in the skill set, I'm like, okay, he's gonna work into something. Um
Yeah.
I will mention, so kind of pivoting, in that little gap there, and then we'll build into the USFL. When you're in the 4-year gap, if I'm not mistaken, or may have been 3 years, are you working on technique in that gap between college and the USFL, or what did that kind of look like?
Oh yeah, definitely technique because talent can only get you so far, right?
Right.
And after that, it's going to be work ethic and technique, your
Mhm.
fundamentals. You got to go back to the basics, and that's pretty much all I did for those 3 years was just figuring out what moves worked for me, figuring out, my distance, figuring out how to set up my rushes, figuring out my counters, my favorite counters, just figuring out pretty much just more my gameplay, just deep diving into the type of player, the type of play style that I want to have, and what moves feel most comfortable with me.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Absolutely. So, flash forward then 2022 in March, it's announced that you are drafted in the third round of the supplemental draft by the
Yep.
Birmingham Stallions. Um, First off, first impressions of the USFL and how that was all going. Mind you, I mean, I think they had planned to go the previous year and it didn't happen. And then they wanted to push it back another year. And so it happens in 2022. What was your first premonition or first introduction to the USFL, spring ball in general?
Um, it was a lot. We were all down there in what Birmingham. I
Mm,
remember it was eight of us, eight teams down there. It was honestly a lot, but it was a good experience. It was everything I needed, to be honest. I ended up getting hurt. It taught me a lot about myself, taught me a lot about the league, and just more on the business side of football
yep.
outside of college. Just kind of seeing how fast things can happen and how you really have to be on your p's and q's. And
Mhm,
if you slip up, you can be replaced that quick, just as fast as you came in there, right?
mhm.
It just so, but it was a lot, bro. I definitely took advantage of it. The experience, though, I remember I was nervous at first, right? Because I
Yeah,
remember the first game, it was like 27,000 people there, or like 27,000, like 22, somewhere over 20.
it was long.
And to this day, I still think that might be one of the biggest games. I
It,
don't know, I'm not sure,
it is
but but because to me that was my biggest game that I played, obviously from coming from Division 2.
right.
But I was nervous, but it just showed me that just trust yourself. It's just football at the end of the day. It's just another game,
Mhm.
even though it's just more media hype to it.
Yeah.
But it's the same game.
Real quick, being a young cat at that time, you're like 23 when you got down there, right? 20,
Yeah,
before, yeah. So who did you kind of latch on to in terms of a veteran presence? Just getting down there and asking questions. Because I would imagine you'd probably were a sponge asking the questions and just being like, hey man, how can I enhance here? But also teach in the same breath.
yeah. See, that's the thing. I definitely like to learn. I'm definitely, we have two ears and one mouth for a reason, right? I like to learn, like to listen. But the
Amen.
guys that I definitely got close with were, to be honest, the whole group. Like that's the thing. That's why I feel like that's why we won the first year too. It's just because the whole group, the whole team was so close,
Mhm.
right? Just in the D line, it was Jonathan Newsom. I talked to Jonathan Newsom, Double A, Willie Aubrey, right? Jordan Thompson, Keyshawn Camp, right? The whole team, bro. Willie Henry. Um, it was just it was just a brotherhood, and it just happened so fast. You could just tell that we all just wanted each other to win and just wanted the best for each other.
Yeah. And if UFL, if you're watching, take notes because that's how you win three titles. UFL, USFL, it doesn't matter. I mean, the camaraderie, the brotherhood that is established within the Birmingham Stallions. You wonder why it's so dominant and why it's such a force to be reckoned with is because they work as a cohesive group. And I just think it's impressive how much you guys were able to do or how much you guys were able to accomplish down there. I just Man, kudos to you guys because it takes a lot to be able to be back on top three times in a
Three
row.
times. Yeah.
That's hard. That's hard. So, well, real quick before I get you out of here, I know I kind of kept you around. I appreciate you being on here and
Of course,
taking
man.
the time, man. Real quick, I just got to talk about the NFL and making the transition. So in June of 2024, you signed with the Denver Broncos. What was the interest looking like, it from an NFL standpoint, and when did the dominoes kind of fall for you to go to Denver ultimately?
To Denver, see, It was pretty much just after the season, man. They called my agent. They flew me out there. They liked me. Obviously I had a good year just coming from the UFL. I was still healthy, thank God,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's hard to make it out of any season healthy. Scotch free.
Right.
Um, but then they worked me out. They loved me. Then I went to camp, and from there it was just just every day, just me showing up to work, just showing what I got.
Mhm.
You know, um, that's the type of player I am. I'm not really gonna complain too much. I'm not gonna really talk too much or cause too much attention. I just like to ball. Really,
Mhm.
that's my one of my favorite things to do is just ball. So it was, I would say, yeah, pretty much kind of from the jump, man.
Being able to just get out there and get right to work, man. That's
Yeah,
I would ask this real quick, and I didn't expect asking this, but like you're in this mindset of football year round. How does your body, how is it able to make the adjustment of like, damn, I got to do this again for a whole like 4 or 5 months? Like, how do you prepare yourself mentally and then ultimately physically to be able to play the game for as long as you did? I mean, you're just now getting a break, dude.
yeah.
That's crazy.
First and foremost, you have to get your rest, right? You have to sleep. You can't be going out. You can't be staying up late. You have to get your rest and your recovery.
Mhm.
And then other than that, it's just how bad do you want it, man?
Yeah.
Like just from my life and my story, man, like this is all I ever wanted. So if I could get through all that before, obviously I knew I could get through this. It's just you gotta dig deep. Obviously, it's a tough mental fight every day.
Right.
Your body is tired, your body is sore, but the more you can do with recovery, obviously, the better you're gonna feel.
Right.
So
Um, as far as when you got there, obviously you probably have a little bit of context about what Denver is not only as a franchise, but Orange Crush in the 1970s, 1980s. Their defense has always been prominent. Vance
yeah.
Joseph is arguably one of the greatest defensive coordinators in the game today.
Hmm.
When you look at how much depth they have at your particular position, but all across that defensive room, what I mean, you got to be salivating as a defensive player. You're like, I'm in one of the best rooms in the league. This is sick.
Yeah.
Like, what's your thought behind that? And Vance Joseph as your coach, man. That's super cool.
I'm excited, man. Just even coming off last year, like we have a great group of guys who love ball, who want to win, who are fearless, right? Who are gonna go out there and compete.
Right.
And even just from the offseason, just guys we're picking up now, and just guys that we're gonna get in the draft, man. Like it's a you could tell it's a culture over here.
Hmm.
Broncos obviously been known for the defense. So everybody obviously when they come over here, they want to, live up to the name. They want to put out the best film. They want to, keep going what's been going on for so long, right? And obviously, Ben Joseph, he knows what he's doing. Coach knows he's been doing it a while. Um, especially me, I love playing for him, man. Like I love playing fast, and that's what he likes. He likes guys playing fast and playing free. So
And the
I feel
altitude.
exactly, man. Like it's amazing, bro. But I'm definitely excited.
No, man, a lot to look forward to as that franchise is only getting better. Obviously, they made the playoffs for the first time in 10 years last year, falling short, against the Buffalo Bills. This is becoming a cliche in media, but I feel warranted to ask. You're seeing it firsthand. Just real quick, touch on Bo Nix and sort of the impact he's had on the franchise, or if what your kind of thoughts are on the up and up from an offensive perspective in general.
Man, I think Bo Nix is amazing, man. Like just from what he's doing as a rookie, just obviously just taking on what he had to take on from Russell last year and just all the media noise, man.
Mhm.
He's handled it perfectly. He's definitely talented. You can see it in his game. He's smart. He's quick with his reads. He doesn't hesitate, and that's what I love about him. He trusts himself. I we all that's why we all rock with him too. Like because he goes out there and just plays, and whatever happens happens. But as long as you trust yourself and you play fast, we gonna ride. You know what
Right.
I mean? Because that's what we're all doing.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for his future. I'm excited for him to keep learning, keep growing.
Hmm.
I'm excited for coach, for the coaches, what they have for him, whatever they do have for him.
Hmm.
You know, I'm just excited to see what they got.
Man, dude, it just you got to sit back in those moments just as where you think about where you started and where you've gotten, dude. Like you're only on the up, and it's awesome to see your career ascend, dude. I can't give you enough credit just sticking to the grind and staying committed to it. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask like what would kind of be your advice for someone who's pursuing the same dream, even someone who's in the UFL today and like, they or maybe they're in a mindset where, man, maybe something's not working or something's not clicking. As someone
Mhm.
who's, been a product of the spring football and has made it to the top, what is kind of that advice you would give to someone in those same shoes?
I would say number one, keep God first, whatever you believe in, right? Keep
Mm.
some type of faith, keep some type of hope, because obviously it's gonna get tough, and that's what you're gonna need to get through them tough battles, right?
Right.
And then just stay at it. You never know when it could be your time, right? You
Yeah.
never know when it could be your time, so just stay ready so you don't have to get ready,
Hmm.
and just know when it's your time. Take full advantage of it,
Yep.
right? Because you're only gonna get it once.
Hmm.
You know, you have to be fully prepared for it. You know, you have to be fully confident. And the thing is that I realized is like while you're in that league, use that time to mold yourself to be that player that you really want to be when you get here. So that way, when you get here, you can just hit the ground running.
Right.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? As far as in whatever that is,
Hmm.
but just keep obviously just keep faith and just keep working, man, and just try to get the best film that you can and get the right people around you, get a good agent.
Hmm.
Because for me, it was the agent. You know, I'm gonna tell the guys definitely get an agent who's working for you, who believes in you. You know, who's gonna support you.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I had an agent who really he was a lawyer, so I was doing all this working,
Hmm.
and he wasn't doing anything for me.
Right.
I would have teams calling the Stallions general manager, Zach Carter,
Hmm.
and he wouldn't do anything.
Hmm.
You know, so definitely make sure you have a good agent who knows guys, who's working for you and believes in you, and the rest should handle itself if you're working hard.
Yeah, absolutely. That is tremendous advice, man. God is good all the
God
time.
is good
I I
all the
I
time.
I think all the time is God is good. I think faith is the main pillar. Obviously, whatever you believe in, I think faith is something that guides you and propels you
Mhm.
in ways you couldn't even fathom. But man,
Absolutely.
love the story. I love it. Shameless plug real quick because also I don't want to forget why not now, right? October of 2022, you started that brand. It's been growing ever since.
Mhm.
Are we getting any other drops? Are we gonna get?
We're coming up with some mesh shorts here soon, man. We just ordered some samples. We're about to order some bulk orders here soon, man. But yeah, why not now? Hey, why not now? What are we waiting on? Why not now?
What real quick, what started that and what was kind of the concept that went into building that brand? And it was almost like right after the season in 2023. Or
Yeah, so I first started thinking about that in 2021 in the spring league.
Mhm.
So the spring league, I played in that in 2021. It was a six game league in
Mhm.
Indianapolis, which
Yeah.
you had to pay to play,
Oh
right?
God, yeah, God.
Yes, you had to pay to play, and luckily my grandma had $2,000 for me to go. But long story short, that was really originally, I guess, now the very first test run, or not the very first test run, but another test run for the USFL to see if it was, able to get back up and going, which it was, right? So, but I started that just because I didn't have anything going after that league, right? I had a couple teams looking at me, and I knew that I wanted to be more than just a football player, right? I knew I liked fashion, I knew I liked clothes, and I also knew I had a story, but I also wanted to inspire people through it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so how can I inspire people uh, through clothes? And once I figured that out, I said, okay, we can do it. And because there's nothing better than being able to wear something and you look at it in the mirror and it give you some type of motivation,
Mhm.
right? Like you could be going through a day, you could have a tough day, a bad day, whatever, and you could go to the mirror, go to the bathroom, and you can look at your shorts or whatever, and it can have a motivational quote.
Right.
And next thing you know, you can have a spark to get you going for the rest of the day.
Yeah, man.
You know, but I really just want to motivate people just through fashion, just so they can see it every day.
Man, I'm ready for the next drop. You better have some blue and orange in there. I'll support you. I'll
No,
definitely buy shirts, man. And
no, I,
regardless.
yeah, no, I got you now, because just for me, man, just doing football, just chasing football, like, yeah, I wanted to do it, but I didn't have enough time, man, because I like with this stuff, football, you had to put everything to it, man. I'm telling you, it's hard. You got to put everything you got. So
Mm,
now that I have a little more free time, I'm gonna obviously expand it more and get more things going.
stay tuned. We could be
Stay tuned.
up. All right. Well,
Right.
hey man, it was a short one, but I cannot thank you enough. If you haven't already, I'll even plug your socials back in again. Let me
Yeah.
see.
Make sure y'all go follow me, man. Dondre Tillman 2 on Twitter and
Thank you.
Dondre Tillman 98 on Instagram.
Thank you. I was just about to get to it, but you saved the day there. I appreciate
Absolutely. And my TikTok too. Dondre Tillman. I don't even know my TikTok right now, but
We'll figure.
yeah, my TikTok, we'll figure it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dondre Tillman, man, I thank you so much for joining the show. And don't be a stranger, dude. Come back whenever, anytime
Of
you.
course.
All
I
right.
appreciate you having me, Keegan, man.
Yep. You've been watching Strive Sports Podcast. See you next week.